Most people believe their emotions are controlled by circumstances. If something good happens, they feel happy. If something goes wrong, they feel frustrated, anxious, or discouraged. They spend their lives waiting for the outside world to determine how they feel on the inside. But the truth is that your emotional state is influenced far more by your focus, your interpretation of events, and the habits you practice than by the events themselves. Two people can experience the exact same situation and respond in completely different ways. One sees a setback as proof that they should quit, while the other sees it as valuable feedback and a chance to improve. The difference isn't the situation, it's the state of mind they choose to enter. Every morning, before the world starts demanding your attention, you have a choice. You can wake up and immediately focus on everything that's wrong, replay yesterday's problems, worry about today's challenges, and allow stress to take control. Or you can intentionally direct your attention towards strength, opportunity, and purpose. That decision, made within the first few minutes of your day, can shape everything that follows. Your emotions influence the way you think, the way you speak, the energy you bring into conversations, and the actions you're willing to take. When you're in a resourceful emotional state, challenges become manageable instead of overwhelming. Think about moments in your life when you felt unstoppable. Chances are, your circumstances weren't perfect. What made the difference was the emotional state you were in. Confidence allowed you to see opportunities. Determination helped you push through discomfort. Optimism gave you the courage to keep moving, even when results weren't immediate. Those emotions didn't magically appear. They were created by what you focused on and how you approached the moment. This means you don't have to wait until life gets easier before you feel better. You can begin creating a stronger emotional state right where you are. It starts by becoming aware of your thoughts and refusing to let negative patterns run on autopilot. Instead of asking, "Why is everything going wrong?" you can ask, "What's one thing I can do right now to improve this situation?" That small shift redirects your mind from helplessness to action. The more often you practice choosing your emotional state intentionally, the more natural it becomes. Over time, resilience replaces reactivity, confidence replaces doubt, and purpose replaces confusion. You stop being pushed around by temporary emotions and begin leading your life with intention. When you realize that your emotional state is something you can influence every single day, you gain a level of personal power that no circumstance can easily take away. Your body and your mind are constantly communicating with each other. Every breath you take, every movement you make, and every posture you hold sends signals to your brain about how you should feel. Many people assume that emotions begin in the mind and then affect the body, that the relationship works both ways. If you spend the day slouched over, breathing shallowly, and moving with little energy, your brain often interprets those physical signals as fatigue, stress, or lack of confidence. On the other hand, when you stand tall, breathe deeply, and move with purpose, your brain receives a completely different message. Your physical state can become the quickest way to influence your emotional state. Think about how athletes prepare before a competition. They don't usually sit quietly, thinking about how tired they feel. They warm up, stretch, move with intensity, and increase their energy before the event begins. They understand that peak performance starts with physical preparation. The same principle applies to everyday life. Whether you're preparing for a meeting, an interview, a presentation, or simply the challenges of a busy day, your body can help create the mindset you need. Breathing is one of the most powerful tools you have because it's always available. During stressful moments, people naturally take short, rapid breaths, which can make anxiety feel even stronger. By slowing your breathing and taking deep, controlled breaths, you help calm your nervous system and create a greater sense of stability. Even a minute of focused breathing can interrupt negative emotional patterns and bring your attention back to the present moment. Movement also changes your mental state. A brisk walk, a few stretches, light exercise, or simply shaking off physical tension can increase your energy and improve your focus. You don't need an intense workout to experience this effect. Small intentional movements can remind your brain that you're awake, capable, and ready to take action. When your body feels alive, your mind often follows. Posture matters just as much. Walking with your shoulders back, keeping your head up, and maintaining an open stance doesn't guarantee success, but it influences how you perceive yourself and how others perceive you. You begin to carry yourself with greater confidence, and that confidence affects your decisions. Instead of shrinking away from challenges, you're more likely to face them directly. The goal isn't to fake confidence or ignore difficult emotions. It's to recognize that your body can support your mind during difficult moments. By consciously improving your breathing, movement, and posture each day, you create a stronger foundation for clear thinking, better decisions, and greater emotional resilience. When your body reflects strength and energy, your mind is far more likely to believe that you are capable of handling whatever comes next. Gratitude is one of the simplest habits you can practice, yet it has the power to completely change the direction of your thoughts. Most people begin their day by thinking about deadlines, responsibilities, financial pressures, or problems they need to solve. Before they even get out of bed, their minds are already filled with stress and worry. When your attention is locked onto everything that is missing or going wrong, your emotional state naturally becomes heavier. Gratitude interrupts that pattern by reminding you of what is already good in your life. No matter how small it may seem, this doesn't mean pretending that difficulties don't exist. Challenges are real, and ignoring them won't make them disappear. Gratitude simply helps you avoid becoming consumed by those challenges. It gives your mind a healthier starting point. Instead of beginning your day with fear or frustration, you begin it with appreciation. That shift changes the lens through which you view the rest of your day. Think about the people, experiences, and opportunities that have shaped your life. It could be someone who believed in you when you doubted yourself, a lesson learned from failure, good health, a supportive friend, or even the chance to wake up with another opportunity to improve. These are things that often go unnoticed because the human mind naturally pays more attention to problems than blessings. Taking a few moments to recognize them helps restore balance to your perspective. Gratitude also changes the way you interact with others. When you appreciate the people around you, you're more likely to treat them with patience, kindness, and respect. Instead of focusing on what others haven't done, you begin noticing their efforts and positive qualities. This creates stronger relationships, builds trust, and encourages more meaningful connections. Positive emotions are often contagious, and your grateful attitude can influence the people you meet throughout the day. Another powerful benefit of gratitude is that it reduces the tendency to compare yourself with others. Comparison often leads to feelings of inadequacy, because you're constantly measuring your life against someone else's highlight reel. Gratitude brings your focus back to your own journey. It reminds you that progress is personal, and that your value isn't determined by someone else's success. When you're thankful for where you are while still working toward where you want to be, you create a healthier balance between ambition and contentment. Practicing gratitude every day doesn't require a special routine or a perfect life. It only requires intentional attention. Whether you silently acknowledge 3 things you're thankful for, write them in a journal, or reflect on them during your morning routine, you train your mind to notice opportunities instead of obstacles. Over time, this habit strengthens your emotional resilience, increases optimism, and helps you approach each day with a greater sense of peace, confidence, and purpose. Your mind is constantly creating pictures, whether you realize it or not. When you worry about the future, you're visualizing failure. When you replay past mistakes, you're creating mental images that reinforce doubt and hesitation. The challenge is that many people allow these images to form automatically, without questioning whether they are helping or hurting them. Instead of imagining success, they repeatedly picture everything that could go wrong. Over time, those negative mental rehearsals influence their confidence and the decisions they make. The good news is that you can consciously choose different images and direct your imagination toward the future you want to create. Visualization is more than simply wishing for success. It is the practice of mentally rehearsing the person you want to become and the actions required to get there. Before you step into an important meeting, imagine yourself speaking clearly and confidently. Before an interview, picture yourself answering questions with calmness and certainty. Before starting a challenging project, see yourself staying focused, solving problems, and finishing strong. These mental rehearsals prepare your mind to respond with greater confidence when the real moment arrives. The key is to make the experience as vivid as possible. Don't just see yourself reaching the finish line, experience the journey in your imagination. Picture the environment around you, hear the sounds, notice the expressions on people's faces, and feel the emotions that come with accomplishing your goal. The more detailed the image becomes, the more real it feels to your mind. This creates a stronger emotional connection to your objective and increases your willingness to take action. At the same time, effective visualization is not about pretending obstacles don't exist. Every worthwhile goal comes with challenges, setbacks, and moments of uncertainty. Instead of imagining a perfect path, picture yourself responding to those difficulties with resilience. See yourself remaining calm under pressure, adapting when plans change, learning from mistakes, and continuing to move forward. This builds confidence because you're preparing yourself not only for success, but also for the inevitable challenges along the way. Visualization becomes even more powerful when it's paired with consistent action. Seeing yourself achieve your goals should inspire you to take the next meaningful step, not replace it. Every small action you complete reinforces the vision you've created, and every action makes that vision feel more attainable. Gradually, the gap between imagination and reality begins to shrink. When you spend a few minutes each day intentionally visualizing the life you're working toward, you train your attention to recognize opportunities instead of distractions. You become more focused on possibilities than limitations, and more committed to your purpose than your fears. Your vision gives direction to your actions, and your actions steadily transform that vision into something real. The questions you ask yourself every day quietly shape the direction of your life. Most people never notice this inner dialogue because it happens automatically. When something goes wrong, the mind often asks questions like, "Why does this always happen to me? Why am I not good enough?" Or, "Why can't I ever succeed?" The problem is that your brain immediately starts searching for answers, even if the questions are unhelpful. It begins collecting evidence that supports those negative beliefs, making discouragement feel even more convincing. Without realizing it, you become trapped in a cycle where limiting questions produce limiting answers. The good news is that you have the ability to interrupt this pattern by asking better questions. Instead of asking questions that reinforce fear or self-doubt, ask ones that encourage growth and action. For example, replace "Why am I failing?" with "What can I learn from this experience?" Instead of thinking, "Why is this challenge so difficult?" ask, "What skill can I develop by overcoming this?" These small changes may seem simple, but they direct your attention toward solutions instead of problems. Your brain works like a search engine. It responds to whatever you ask it to find. If you constantly ask negative questions, it will produce negative answers. If you ask empowering questions, it will search for opportunities, resources, and possibilities that you might have overlooked before. This is why successful people often approach setbacks differently. They don't ignore reality, but they refuse to stay focused on what they cannot control. Their questions lead them toward progress instead of frustration. Empowering questions also increase your sense of responsibility. Rather than blaming circumstances, other people, or bad luck, you begin asking, "What is the next best step I can take?" That question immediately shifts your focus toward action. Even if the step is small, taking action creates momentum, and momentum builds confidence. Every time you solve one problem, you become more prepared to handle the next one. Another powerful habit is asking questions that remind you of your strengths and values. Ask yourself, what am I grateful for today? How can I make a positive difference? Or, what kind of person do I want to be in this situation? These questions elevate your thinking and encourage you to act with intention instead of reacting emotionally. They help you stay connected to your goals, even when life becomes challenging. Over time, the quality of your questions becomes the quality of your thinking, and the quality of your thinking influences the quality of your decisions. Better decisions create better habits, stronger relationships, and greater resilience. You may not control every situation that comes your way, but you can always choose the questions that guide your response. Those questions become the foundation for a mindset that consistently seeks growth, possibility, and meaningful progress. Knowledge has value, but knowledge without action changes nothing. Many people spend hours reading books, watching motivational videos, attending seminars, and making detailed plans. Yet they never take the first meaningful step. They wait until they feel completely confident, until they have the perfect strategy, or until every uncertainty disappears. Unfortunately, that perfect moment rarely comes. Progress belongs to those who are willing to act before they have everything figured out. The purpose of a 10-minute priming exercise is not simply to help you feel inspired. It is to prepare you to move. The emotional energy you create becomes valuable only when it is directed toward meaningful action. One of the biggest mistakes people make is trying to accomplish too much at once. They create long to-do lists filled with ambitious goals, and by the end of the day they feel overwhelmed because they completed very little. Instead of focusing on 10 different priorities, choose one important action that will move your life forward. It could be making an important phone call, writing the first page of a project, exercising for 30 minutes, learning a new skill, or having a conversation you've been avoiding. One meaningful action completed today is far more powerful than 10 good intentions postponed until tomorrow. Small actions may not seem impressive in the moment, but they create momentum. Think of a large wheel that has been standing still for years. The first push requires effort, and the wheel barely moves. The second push becomes slightly easier, and with each push, the wheel gains speed. Success often works the same way. The hardest part is starting. Once you build momentum, taking the next step becomes more natural, and consistent effort begins producing noticeable results. Action also builds confidence, in a way that thinking alone never can. Many people believe they need confidence before they begin, but confidence usually comes after they've taken action and discovered they can handle more than they expected. Every completed task becomes evidence that you're capable of making progress. That evidence strengthens your belief in yourself and makes future challenges feel less intimidating. It's equally important to celebrate small victories. Too often, people overlook their progress because they're focused only on the final destination. Recognizing each completed step reinforces positive habits and reminds you that success is built through consistent daily effort. Every small win lays another brick in the foundation of long-term achievement. At the end of each day, ask yourself one simple question. Did I take at least one action that moved me closer to the life I want? If the answer is yes, you're making progress, regardless of how small that step may seem. Over weeks, months, and years, those consistent actions compound into remarkable results. Your future is not shaped by occasional bursts of motivation, but by the daily decisions you make. When you consistently pair a strong emotional state with immediate action, you create lasting momentum. And momentum has the power to transform both your mindset and your life.